السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Start again.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Assalamu alaikum. Before we start, please subscribe and smash that like button. How are you, gentlemen?
Alhamdulillah.
Walaikum salam.
What just happened?
I don't know. It was a long gap between your salam and.
Your response. Where were you?
No, I was just analysing what you're doing. So let's keep going, inshallah.
How was your analysis at the end of it?
It was good, mashallah.
Thank you
so
very much.
Please do subscribe. Bottom line, because there's many people that do listen but they don't subscribe, and that makes it. Let us know that if we're doing a good job or not. And
Let us know you care.
Exactly. We're thirsty for your love.
Lata, I'm going to go to you on this one.
Yes. Please subscribe.
Eid Mubarak to everybody. I think
Eid Mubarak, yes. Eid Mubarak, guys. Eid Mubarak
Eid
to everyone
Mubarak,
listening. Eid
Although we
Mubarak,
released the
everyone.
last one after Eid, but we didn't have, no one had Eid by that time. So basically, alhamdulillah, everybody had their Eid. We had our 2 Eids, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Did you celebrate both of them?
I went as close as possible, but I went according to National Hilal. I think most of us here, we follow the National Hilal sighting. So yeah, alhamdulillah.
How was your Eid, Lata?
I was good. Yes, I had to do the 2 Eids. I went to my mum's house to.
So your mum did it the first day?
Yeah, so I had iftar, my last iftar at my mum's,
Okay, mashallah.
Okay.
and then had Eid the following morning. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, so
And how was that received, the iftar?
it's like every year they
used to it now.
they give
But
me
at least you share the meal on the day. And
yeah, and
Yeah.
they also have like a bit of a go at me as well. Test the waters. See.
yeah, that's normal. Yeah, that's normal.
You get that?
Huh?
You get that?
I used to get it much more.
Yeah.
And mind you, when I say get my father was chairman of the board of imams at the time or whatever.
Yeah.
So when it used to happen like but alhamdulillah, over the years we worked through it, and it's not the most important. It became less and less
There was
important.
a lot more than Eid that you needed to work through.
Yeah, so it became less and less important over the years, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
So any celebrations?
Yeah, we did Friday Eid. It was spent I think this is my first Eid from basically Eid Salat until 10 o'clock that night. We were just out visiting different brothers, going to different houses. It was nice. It was a really nice day. And then Sunday we had a party at my joint that you were invited to. But I think
I came the night before and had a pre.
Listen, this keto diet
Yeah.
that this guy's been talking about,
Yeah.
it flew the coop the night before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just,
Should we talk about the breaking of the
Eid
keto
day
diet?
started with Krispy Kreme donuts on Eid morning.
Oh no.
I was with Irfan. We went down to PGCC's Eid at the
So you
basketball
started
stadium.
it?
Yeah.
Is it close like
Irfan just pointed out the coffee, because when I arrived there, quote unquote,
Yeah,
being an
that's
imam,
right.
Yeah.
so they offered me one coffee. Was it one coffee? They offered me a coffee. These guys, him and my son, they were in the background. Nobody paid attention.
But they weren't
to
in the
them.
background, they were next to you.
They were next to me.
Yeah, in the
But-
background.
But the effulgence, the nur that was there, it sort of eclipses them. They sort of go in the background. But anyway,
Oh, bro, you opened yourself up to so much there.
no.
But I'm gonna control
because they're
myself.
friends as well. Their brothers I know, so they, of course, they welcome. And then
You're not a friend. Irfan.
immediately, there's a cafe thing place. They went and got a coffee. Did I drink a second one?
No, Irfan told me the story.
Huh?
2 coffees were brought, and then the guy realized you've already got one, so he took the other one back.
And I didn't even notice it. Sorry, man. Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, Irfan, spend
Forgive me.
next Eid with us, bro. We'll get you a coffee.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
So anyway,
You'll
keep
get a
going.
coffee.
Yeah, so
Krispy
then we
Kreme?
had Eid Salat there. The Imam there, mashallah, is a friend and former student. And so,
Mufti Bahadwan.
yeah, alhamdulillah. So
Mashallah,
he did the Eid Salat, and it was funny actually. The Eid, so everything went smooth, mashallah, nice and short, sweet, big crowd. But the only thing was that, like, because it's the first time I think doing Eid khutbah. So after doing everything perfectly, he just stood there for like a awkward pause. What was that?
That was my chair. Hang on
Yeah,
a sec.
just-
trying to adjust.
So he paused at the end when he finished everything, dua and everything. He just stood there, and the whole crowd, like 2,000 people, whatever it was, they just stood staring at him, and he was staring at them. And then someone shouted from the right, Eid Mubarak, and then he said Eid Mubarak, and then everyone got up and started doing the hugging and so forth. So it was nice, mashallah. It was a nice Nice day, and then went with family and just
Inshallah,
it was
we
good.
had
Actually, not really. I was rushed, 1 or 2 visits, and then had to go back and prepare Jummah khutbah and deliver Jummah khutbah. Until Jummah khutbah wasn't, I was in lockdown, so I was driving across the city. So, but anyway, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, we prayed in Coburg. They're rebuilding the masjid, but they've got they've got the old, I suppose, extra facilities building there.
Okay,
And so they've done a good job. They're turning into the prayer room.
mashallah.
And so we had the Eid Salat, and then after that, just started visiting.
Mashallah.
Big day.
Mashallah.
And then Sunday party at my house, as I was saying. Lata, you were there as well,
Yeah,
eventually.
eventually. I think I was the last one to rock up, or second last.
12:30 you were coming.
Yeah,
No, 1:30 you were coming.
1:30. Yeah.
So what was
6 o'clock he got
I
there.
saw you the night before. You're cooking. I don't
Oh,
know what
it
you're
felt
cooking. You're frying like
It was curry.
10 kilos of onions.
Oh yeah,
in a-
Lata helped chopping
in a
up
wok.
those onions as well.
Okay,
So
mashallah.
it was a massive curry.
Well, technically, I was
Massive
actually a
pot.
lot earlier than most people.
Yes, and then you-
What sort of curry? What sort of curry was it?
It was this. See, what I do when I cook is I have to taste it in my head what I want. This is going to sound weird, right? But it was just a normal Indian
Is
curry,
curry something to give to guests?
bro. This thing was crazy.
Yeah.
The meat was crazy. The spices, everything. So once I taste it in my head, then I know I can prepare it.
Okay.
What the type of taste that I want. So the butcher as well, mashallah, Eid day, he goes, "Oh, brother, he's a feeder, yeah." And so he supplied some really good cut of meat.
Okay.
Took off all the fat, which was fantastic. It was a good day. A lot of
Yeah.
sweets as well. We had a lot of reverts come around as well, mashallah.
Really?
So there were some really good conversations.
Mashallah.
Yeah, it was some
Alhamdulillah, nice.
really good conversations. And we had Kenny from across the road. He loves it. He saw the pot. He's, "Oh my God, look at that!" That was his reaction. He was
It's funny.
he's a legend.
I was at one place and the neighbor smelled the curry.
Yeah.
One of my friend was cooking and I guess the neighbor pops his head in. That smells good.
yeah,
Anyway,
mashallah.
yeah,
It was a good day. What else did we do? Apart from that, that was it. Then back to life, back to normal on
the
Monday.
usual stuff.
Back to the usual stuff. At least I could function during Ramadan when I'm fasting. I can't function very well. It's not that I eat a lot during the day. I just need my coffee. And the same.
I'm especially after getting up,
Yeah, man.
it takes a while, to kind of get into that routine of, but yeah, during Ramadan, it's very, alhamdulillah, but it's a lot harder. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
It is. I struggle.
I went off the rails for my diet for about 2.
Bro, you destroyed your diet. I don't know.
Yeah, it was
what
a
you
2.
do
No,
at
I'm
work,
back
bro.
now. 2 days, 48 hours now. I'm back on track. But the getting that, because 1 month not having carbs, and then all of a sudden getting like of carbs, like injection carbs. Now trying to wean myself off it. So 2 days I've been straight on keto, back on keto again. And yesterday I went back to boxing, to the gym, training. So, and this Thursday as well, and on Sunday I'll be doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and plus some
It's the
MMA
martial arts
session.
Maulana.
Yeah. No, you got to do it. Just
Don't mess with
it's good. It's enjoyable. The whole atmosphere is really good. So, inshallah, I hope I'm back on track. But
Yeah, but does that mean you have to redo the
there's
whole
some craving.
training of
No, the
month?
cravings for the cravings dies down when you're on keto for a while. The cravings for carbs goes, sugar goes.
What do you crave the
Bro, I
most?
made him a sausage sandwich.
It's
full of cheese.
I'm not into the sweets. It's the floury stuff.
Yeah.
The bread, the cake, it's not even sweet things. I'm not I don't have a sweet tooth. It's more the it's like the bready stuff, the carb like
For me, it's the sugar.
sugars doesn't do it for me. I couldn't, makes no difference. It's bread. I love bread.
Yeah,
Bread is
bread,
nice.
bread will be
Yeah.
hard to give up.
It just, when you see a good glistening biryani with the meat and potato,
Glistening, that's the oil on top, by the way.
It just looks, it's just that perfect combination, or just a kebab, or just that bread meat fat sort of combo. Oof, yeah,
There's something.
my
there's
mouth's watering.
What is wrong with us?
no, but there is something about carbs and protein together. I don't know. It just
and fat.
yeah.
Just the whole. It's
It's a
just
good combination.
It's a match made in heaven. Like just take.
I don't know about the fat.
Take,
I don't know about the fat.
Take the simplest combo of these 3: bread, like a nice fresh bread, honey with butter.
Mm.
Or cream, thickened cream.
Oh yeah, then and there's how just as three simple things. Now you make it more complex. Make the
And
kebab,
then you add
the fat,
sujuk.
yeah, the eggs and cucumbers, tomatoes for breakfast.
Yeah, I don't know
That's
about
a Turkish
cucumbers.
thing.
I don't know about
Yeah.
cucumbers and tomatoes, man.
Yeah, just certain things they got right, certain things just. But anyway,
Yeah, Mum ordered some amazing biryani on Eid day. And typical, there's nothing like proper Hyderabadi biryani.
yeah, I hear this from
Here we go,
Hyderabadis.
here we go.
I hear this
No,
from
no, no,
Hyderabadis.
hang
It's
on
so
one second.
overrated.
You will not hear
It's
from my...
isn't it? Irfan?
No, hang on a
It's
sec.
so overrated.
Don't
It's
listen-
not that good.
Lata,
I can tell
Lata.
you a
It's
story.
good. It's one of the
Wait,
many
let him
different
finish
types.
his piece.
There's a many types of biryanis.
Yes.
For those who want to know, there's many biryanis. But the Hyderabadi doesn't do it. Like, it's not the best biryani.
Okay.
It depends on your.
Now,
I disagree.
now,
Huh?
let's hear
I
from
strongly
the
disagree.
No,
African.
how many biryanis have you had?
I've had plenty.
No. Bombay, there's Karachi,
He's had
there's
everything.
Lahore. There's so many different
I've
types.
had everything
For me,
in
the
my
best biryani is the one my mum
Okay,
makes.
listen to what he's got
Bottom
to
line,
say.
chicken biryani my mum makes, that's the best one for me.
Lamb for me.
Yeah.
Just listen to what Lata has to say now. He's tried every biryani. I will be quiet.
I'll tell you why he's saying I've tried every biryani. We went to India, and every place that we visited in India, all that they gave us was biryani.
Yeah,
Like every day, biryani.
it became a concept like a.
Yeah, I literally wanted to pull my hair out. I was just like, what is this?
Yeah, you're only supposed to have it now and then on special occasions. It's not like
No, this was daily.
And then we went to Hyderabad, and then they continued the same thing, biryani. And then basically, I think it was the last day that I was there. This one kid, he must have been like 15 or something, and he made this biryani, and it was, mind you, all
no,
the
you
biryani
might
they had,
have one guy make it
was
nice, but I'm saying
unbelievable.
it's overrated. Like the Hyderabadi, one of my friends made Hyderabadi biryani.
Yeah.
He invited me, Hyderabadi
you
guy.
can't get proper Hyderabadi biryani
No,
in
no,
Australia.
Listen, he made it,
Listen,
and
don't
he
get cut.
invited me. He talked it up so much, and then he burnt it. So then we had to eat this burnt smoky biryani. But I said, "Oh, this is Hyderabadi biryani." He said, "No, he's in Saudi Arabia at the moment." But it's overrated. I don't know why they're
biryani.
I don't know why they're overrated so much, because you can actually go to different. You can make a good biryani.
No, I have
in
not
different.
had. No, I haven't had biryani as good as Hyderabadi biryani.
Because you're
Sorry.
raised on it. It's probably
No,
your
it's
favorite
not because
food.
I'm
I'm
not
telling
raised on
you.
it.
I'm telling you. My
This is
mum's
not
biryani
because
for me
I've
is the
raised
best
on it.
one. I've
Alright.
had Hyderabadi biryani.
Okay,
Doesn't do it for me.
next podcast, ask your mum to make some biryani.
I can't.
Not
No,
for you, for us.
for you guys. Yeah, I guess I could. Yeah,
I'm on keto.
I'm a kid. I can't. I can't feed
we're
you
not
guys.
talking about you.
Yeah.
Oh, how was the brisket? Did you enjoy that brisket in Ramadan?
Oh, it was unbelievable.
It was good, yeah?
Mashallah.
No.
Mashallah.
Yesterday I bought the briquettes and I bought the wood chip, like the for smoking it. So I actually went to say.
So by next Ramadan, we could try a brisket.
No, I'm building. I'll have it inshallah ready for you guys inshallah.
We need it here in the middle of this table.
Yeah,
in
I'll
front of the
bring it
camera.
inshallah, and you're gonna have it. Yeah,
Inshallah.
inshallah. No, but I actually bought yesterday the wood chip to smoke it, and so I'm planning it. It's one step at a time.
You can't rush these things, Wajid.
Yeah.
Bro, it's been a month and a half. What are you talking about? Can't rush these things. When
Look,
the-
madrasa started today.
Oh, mashallah, mabruk.
Today's Wednesday, so it's restarted the new
It's
year.
madrasa now.
And madrasa starts, the HIF starting, we have location issues. Once all of these things settle down, I'll go for my holiday to Broome, come back, and
well,
inshallah,
you can't rush these things. I'm
That's
telling
my
you,
Eid.
next Ramadan.
That's my Eid present to my kids. So
What, the brisket?
No, the Broome holiday. So that was like subhanallah. So once that's out of the way, inshallah, then it'll be like smooth sailing, get into a routine for the year. Then inshallah, biznillah, I'll organize, see how I can organize, inshallah. I might do one trial run at home by myself.
No. Because
Because I don't want to disappoint you. I want to get all the.
I have absolutely no expectations from your brisket.
Come on
Okay.
now.
No. I'll make one at home. I'll do one at home and then trial run to make sure I can get it right. Because it's winter, it's colder.
Yeah.
So when it's colder, of course, the air outside, and you can't do it inside. So the air is colder, so it's harder to keep it hot because you need to keep it. So it's better to do it in summer. So I might struggle. You're laughing. Fun.
Yeah,
I might struggle to get
moved it to summer.
No, because you got to keep it. You got to keep it burning.
further and
You got to
further.
keep it. Yeah, next, exactly.
The astronomers have said 2054, the sun's going to be at the right angle for a perfect
I
brisket.
think that would be a good time. Yeah.
Yeah. Just drop it on top of my grave.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We need the crickets.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That was a complete stop. Why was that? He's like, I'm over my brisket. Let's go to Singapore COVID-19 bubble. It's not going to happen.
It was the reason they
They've
mentioned
got
initially
some
that
variants. Initially, there was the bubble going to happen. I can't see it happening now because they've got some variants from India in Singapore. Now, this variant is actually affecting younger kids more.
What do you mean younger kids? Like
13 to
teenage?
15-year-olds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so school stopped now.
Look at
School and colleges in Singapore have stopped. And we'll see what happens. So I think it's just watch and act at the moment.
SubhanAllah, I didn't know that kids that young.
Yeah,
being affected.
this is what doctors are worried about. I'm sure, I don't think it's in the thousands or millions, but, that initial stage, you can already see, okay, we've got a problem. So they're being very careful with it.
Okay.
So any plans to Singapore for you?
No, I thought that was one place I thought we could visit. And
Do the podcast?
no, not podcast, just like a bubble. Yeah, I guess they probably have cheap flights and, get the, I'll take you to that marketplace where they make Sri Lankan chili crab or whatever. And
This podcast is becoming about food.
I found out, there's a restaurant, they do these crab boils. Now, if you're a Hanafi, this might be a problem for you because a lot of stuff is either makruh or haram. But for the Shafi'is, Hanbalis and Malikis, they're much more easier on the crustaceans. You guys can only have prawns. But, sorry, Hanafis. But they got this crab boil thing. It's like a American, like Cajun cooking. So they cook
amazing.
crab, oysters, mussels, whatever,
Yum.
prawns, and then
Lobster.
they cook it in this thing, and it's just like dripping with chili sauce, special.
Is it like a soup?
No,
My
it's
mouth's
not.
watering just talking about it, and then they put it out
Are
on
you
like in a
hungry?
sheet, like in a plastic thing. No, I had one of my. I'm going to invite you. Inshallah, I've made a niyat to go out, take all the boys. We go out for some. I have a lot of promises. I hope I can keep them.
So brisket, crabs. So
Before the brisket, I want to
2063.
take you out for dinner. I want to take you out for dinner for a crab boil. But I just got to check a proper halal place. Someone I know, they went to one, so I just want to check. Apparently it's really expensive, that one. There's a cheaper one in Glen Waverley, I think. But you chuck yabbies and stuff, probably not.
So instead
Yabbies,
of the
yabbies
oysters,
is all
we're
right.
getting
Yabbies are nice though.
Yeah, if it's cooked properly, it can make you sick.
I've had fresh yabbies straight out the river, straight onto the fire, just open up the shell and eat it.
Okay.
We were
Yeah.
camping with some boys down in Madam near Adelaide.
Yeah. As a
That's
Hanafi, you
how
should
I
not
had
talk about
yabbies.
your sins in public. This is not acceptable.
I've cooked yabbies.
I used to go yabbing with my dad's friend. He's a Cambodian, and we used to go fishing. And
For those that don't know what yabbies are, they're little crustaceans that kind of look like lobsters, but very miniature in Australia.
and like in
And
fresh
they live
water.
and muddy riverbanks.
Yeah.
They live in ponds as well.
Mm.
The boys
And dams.
When we were in Beveridge in the madrasa there, and dams. Yeah, they used to catch them there. There's heaps there.
Did they eat them?
Yeah. I remember they catch them and they cook them, and they had nets as well for it. But even the Hanafis become non-Hanafi around that sort of stuff. I don't know what happens to them, but it's
Moving right along.
But this Cambodian brother, we used to catch like that much,
really?
and then cook them. They were still alive, and they cooked them. They're
that's what
they're
kills
moving
me
inside
about-
the.
That's
the-
what kills me about
the-
cooking crab or lobster or anything
but when
like
they
that.
turn like golden red, bright
Yeah,
red,
they're
and looks amazing.
Mm.
Yeah, and then whatever Cambodian spices, whatever they put chili and all the leaves, whatever, beautiful.
Mashallah.
Anyway.
So are we going to continue this whole podcast about different types of
No,
food?
but what I'm saying, Singapore, one of my best memories, one of my friends, he took me to this Malay style restaurant, outdoors sort of thing. And we had was it pepper crayfish, unbelievable, and that was one of the best meals I had. And Sri Lankan chili crab, unbelievable. Yeah.
You've told me about that chili crab.
So the closest thing I know is this boil thing, whatever, the crab boil. This is like it's a Cajun cooking, American style. And if you see Americans when they call them crawfish,
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
crayfish.
not crayfish, crawfish. So crawfish, they cook with corn cobs. It's really weird actually. It's like corn cob, but they cook like a whole pile, and
Yeah,
everyone
like-
sits around just eating together.
Like your brownie pots,
Yeah.
full of them.
But that's pretty full on.
Yeah. It's like a social
but they
family.
cook for like 10 people.
Yeah.
We cook for like 100.
That's true.
Oh, they're like big families. Like, no, if you see the videos, these are big families in the south or whatever. So pretty cool. But anyway,
Mashallah.
that's
So we're going to have to wait a little bit longer for this Sri Lankan chili crab from Singapore.
I guess so.
Alhamdulillah. What else has been happening in Melbourne? Sleeping detection device for the police. How do you do that?
Maybe are they testing after they've caught the person to check if he's sleeping?
How tired they are.
I think
So
it's like
It's a weird way to.
It's like a
Fatigue device.
Yeah, like a booze bus, but for fatigue, like on the road.
Oh, you have to
Pull you
like breathe
over.
into something, and then they'll know whether you're tired. That's
Maybe they'll look at whether you're driving erratically or whatever it is. But how do you tell if someone's tired?
somebody could just be a bad driver.
I read the article. Apparently,
There's a lot of tired people on the
you
road.
put on those VR,
Oh,
VR.
mate.
What are they called? Those VR goggles?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently it reads your retina or your eyes to tell fatigue. I don't know how that's going to work.
It's another
That thing's
money
gonna-
maker.
That thing's going to say I'm tired as soon as I wake up if I put those things on. An hour after I wake up, I'm like, oh, this guy's fatigued. He needs to go back to bed.
Yeah, subhanAllah. imagine all the people that are just like not tired, but they just got up, you know, and they're just trying to get to
He's
work.
trying to get to work.
Go
Sorry,
home,
mate,
sleep
go
more.
home and sleep. Can you give me a
That'd be
ticket for that?
Yeah, it definitely sounds like something that they're sort of conjuring just to make money.
Yeah, look, I think the guy that probably came up with it, he's going to now win a prize in or not a prize, or maybe get a promotion.
Get
in
some
his
sort of
unit.
grant.
Yeah, some sort of something.
There's another guy came out with the camera for catching people on their phones.
That thing has caught so many people in Sydney.
Have you seen it? How
Yeah,
they
I've
set it up
seen it.
above, like on bridges and stuff.
Yeah.
So it takes a photo downwards, so it'll detect the person's phone in his
when
hand.
it's just-
Yeah.
And what they do now on the highways, freeways as well now in Melbourne, and even up and down Sydney Road, is they'll go on bikes or motorbikes, and they literally just go past, look in. Especially on push bikes up Sydney Road, because everyone's riding.
In
and
UK,
nobody
they
knows.
were doing it
sneaky.
from double-decker buses.
Yeah, see, that's crazy. This is crazy.
It's almost like
it's like a
It's a police state.
yeah, like they're taking it next level.
It is. It has become a
Yeah.
police state where everything you do. And look, I understand the point of view of safety for people and all that stuff, so that you shouldn't be on your phone. But how far do we go? Do we have?
well, people shouldn't be on it, so I'm guilty of that. But I've been fined, and I think it's there for the interest. I think if you look at the harm of, if anything goes wrong,
yeah, well, people lose their lives.
exactly. So it's probably better not to, Allah on them. Probably not right thing to be using the phone while you're driving.
Speaking of police,
why he's not convinced by my?
I don't use my phone.
Yeah, I know you.
I don't. I tell you off.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a fine.
How many times have I said it?
I
How
got
many
a
times
fine.
have I said
I
it
did
to
get a fine for it. So
Yeah.
I learned my lesson.
The hard way. Right? And speaking of police states, Palestine, the whole world has been protesting.
Yeah, you can't.
There's
They
been a
can't
shift.
hide anymore.
However, mainstream media is not covering anything of it. There's a little bit of an article.
They don't need to. They don't need to anymore.
Do you think?
Nah, with the way social media has been structured nowadays,
exactly.
I don't think we need mainstream media anymore.
Yeah, just look at Reddit.
Yeah.
It's all over Reddit.
I haven't seen Reddit. It's all over Reddit.
It's
Oh,
all
it's
over Reddit. It's
everywhere.
all social media. If you look at it,
Yeah.
people know what's going on, and people know how crazy Israel is in the way what it's doing.
For me,
You know?
what was promising is that I remember in the past I used to go on YouTube and watch these videos, and I would read the comments, and I used to see a lot of opposing comments for the Palestinians, and I used to think to myself, I can't believe people still don't get it.
Yeah.
But this time around, I don't know if it's because it's Reddit and not YouTube now, because
Yeah, not just Reddit, like TikTok.
Yeah.
Well, they definitely have lost the PR war.
Yeah,
that's
they-
for sure.
exactly.
That's the
Yeah, but do you think they can bring it back and win it? They control the
no,
media.
but we don't know how long this will go for. It'll quieten down. The next issue will come up. People are feeling it, but the thing is, you can't sustain protest. If the protest doesn't result in anything
It can't be
concrete
sustained.
in your country, because the protests are localized. Each country, sorry, I think it's on my beard. The protests are localized. If nothing happens in Australia, what was the point of doing all the protests? Like you said, all right, you screamed and shouted.
Well, nothing will happen in Australia. I
Yeah.
don't think anything will happen in Australia. If you have
Yeah.
a look at our politicians and the statements that they're giving out, they've made it look like
why is Australia support Israel? As in, why? The question is, why do we support it?
could it go back to the Balfour Agreement?
Yeah,
So
I think
this
it
is
goes back
something-
to
this is
a
something
old
that
world
you-
British
Yeah.
colonial state that they set up, right? Which they have a foothold in the Middle East permanently, and no matter what, they'll support it, regardless of what they do.
And even
and
if
no
you
matter
go
how
back
much
to the
pain it
Crusades,
causes.
if you go back to all those times, it was like, we're not going to
Well,
lose
that's a bit
Jerusalem
too far
again.
back. I'm talking about like current, like because we're still under the Queen. I mean, it happened under her watch.
Yeah.
It
I mean, this
did.
is
She
amazing.
was alive.
This is amazing thing. She was still
She was,
alive when it was.
she was still colonizing.
Yeah, she was. It's bizarre. She's like, this lady's still alive, you know. So, but it's like we've had like 10 prime ministers and she's still kicking, going.
bro,
She's
it's
still going.
crazy.
But she's 68 years or something. She's been reigning or something. Like.
68
no
years.
idea.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't there some sort of record that she has? Like
She's the longest reigning
No,
monarch.
she's not. I don't think
She's not?
No, there's actually others.
What,
There's-
in the UK?
probably in the UK, but not in the.
No, I'm talking about the UK.
not in history.
Yeah, so she's still going on,
Yeah.
and now even if you have a look at
Bro.
our politicians
Bro.
and see what our politicians are saying, if we look at that, I don't think anything's going to change.
Also, I gotta like
Look at this, Louis the 14th,
Oh yeah, from France.
72 years.
Not bad. What were you
Uh,
saying, Lata?
hey,
With
Thailand,
protesting.
Bhumibol Aduli Ajad, yeah, whatever, 70 years. Johann of Liechtenstein, 70 years. And Queen Elizabeth, she's number 4 in history.
She'll get there.
Oh, you reckon?
She's only 4 years
she's
off.
about to.
She's only 4 years off.
She's 3 years off.
3 years off.
3 years off,
So,
yeah.
Lata, what were you
3
saying?
years off being the longest.
Now, I was just going back to what you were talking about with protesting. Like, we've protested so many times,
Yeah.
you know, and we've gotten nowhere. I think it's about time, you know, we try something different, where is like, you know, utilize our money. You know, I know there's like a boycott Israel campaign type of thing going on, but you know, if each individual Muslim really
Actually, stop buying stuff.
actually start buying stuff that contributes to, you know, the occupation of Palestine, then that will really send a message to these guys.
But the thing is, if that happens, my thought process is, okay, whatever decrease happens there in their revenue, the West will just make it up in the aid that they provide. I mean, America provides $4 billion worth of military aid every year.
Which is
Yeah.
ridiculous, man. I just
Right? I mean, you've got all these settlers going there,
yeah.
taking over people's houses, living there. It's not that they're all working. Where's
Yeah.
their income coming from?
Yeah, that's true.
Right? It's,
Look,
it's like
there's groups in the US, and probably in Australia as well, Christian groups that are
That
there.
pay for-
They want basically they want the second coming.
Christian
And their way of
evangelicals,
second
what are they
coming is that the people of Jesus have to be in the Holy Land. There's people actually really legitimate at the top level in the US who, you know, they have influence
called? Yeah.
and they have a, you know, specific belief about that. Whether that's the policy or whether just to have a colonial state, a proxy state there working with you and make sure you pump money into it and all its indiscretions, all its wrongs have to be ignored. Because what you're getting at about it, I mean, Biden, there's a older recording from like 30 years
he
ago.
says
He said
all
it's
the
the
Zionists.
best, it's a best investment bank for buck, whatever, that we're getting by investing in Israel.
Really?
Why?
Yeah, in the region, because they keep their colonial state there and it's a foothold into the Middle East.
Yeah.
You know,
They've
It's-
got
it's such
nuclear
a random
weapons,
spot
they've got
right there.
well, they've got nuclear weapons. So the Arabs, they try to fight them 2-3 times. They gather together and they try to fight. I mean, they're all not united. Iraq was separate and whatever. And then during the war, they what do you call it? The Gulf War. Iraq attacked and everybody. Anyway, it's a mess. The Middle East, they're not on the same page. They attacked 67, 72, all that. They failed. Since then, Israel's acquired nuclear weapons.
We've got 200.
And if
we know of.
any of these guys, they step out of line, like let's say all Arabs united, because that's the immediate countries, all Arabs in all directions. All of them unite and say, we're going to attack Israel. They'll just nuke your cities, you know. That's what they're going to do. They're going to do Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and that's it. Like that's their plan. At the end of the day, they will bring the region down. They don't care.
Well,
they
look
don't
what
care
they're doing
about.
to
They don't care
Gaza.
about the protests.
Yeah,
They don't
no.
care about these protests are meaningless in terms of changing Israel's behavior. They don't care about the protests. We're doing the protests. Ulama in South Africa have said to do it, make dua, make istighfar. We can't help the ummah. You know, the usual stuff that we do.
Yeah.
Other than that, and these boycotts, divestment and boycott and so forth, like not to buy things. Like you'd be surprised at the companies that are on the list.
SodaStream. That's one that just
That's
comes
a
to
big
mind.
one, yeah.
That's a massive
SodaStream.
one. They've actually got a factory in the occupied territories.
Was it a Caterpillar? There's a whole list of companies. I can't remember exactly, but companies that we buy stuff all the time from.
Yeah.
And
It's
so
manufactured in the occupied territory.
So anyway, there's a whole list of these boycotting. All right, we can do that. We can protest. We can write letters to politicians. Make dua. The biggest thing is the weapon of the believer. To have a consciousness of that place, and it's on our target. It's in our, point of view. Like the Muslims are aware of it. It's important. It's not like other places. Because Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "There's no good in you. If this place is ruined or the people are ruined, as an ummah, there's no good in you." So it's a very special place, different place, and it's not like every other place. It's not like Pakistan or Indonesia or Kashmir or China, even though Muslims are suffering there. But the place itself is a reflection of the feebleness of the ummah because of our deen and iman and so where we're at.
Is there anywhere in Hadith where it talks about Masjid al-Aqsa being flattened or broken or anything like that? Or will
No.
Masjid al-Aqsa always exist?
No, even more so, it will become more strong. It will be the capital of the Muslims. Or Mahdi alayhi salam, he will rule from there. So it's actually got a more prominent, in the end times, it's got a more prominent place than even Makkah, Medina.
No. I suppose what I'm thinking about is because Israel.
Oh, the whole temple, they will
whole-
break it? No, there's
yeah.
no hadith or anything about that.
Because that's the
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
What do you guys think of this?
I think there's a little bit of conspiracy.
greater Israel.
I think there's a lot of conspiracy theories mixed in with
Yeah.
anti-Semitism and,
Yeah, but to say what Israel is doing or what the Zionists are doing is wrong is not anti-Semitism.
I'm not talking about that. I'm thinking there is anti-Semitism. There's a hate for Yahud as a people in some Muslims. That's a fact. That's with
Oh, yeah, definitely.
even in Australia, being raised in Australia, we're not that racist actually compared to white people who hate Jews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
what
we
I was gonna
actually
say.
don't have that. We don't have
that level.
We don't
of
have. We
hate.
know
Yeah,
the jokes in
exactly.
school that were made about Jews, and one Muslim he's teaching in a Jewish school. What was he say? The jokes that the Jewish students made about Jews or racist against themselves, But anyway, I think it was some joke about why did Jews have big noses, something like that. It was a Jewish student that told him. High school. This is a high school student. Has high school student in Australia, but anyway, the anti-Semitism in Australia that white people have for Jews, which is sort of under
And this is where
below
Asia
the
is coming
surface.
into right wing. This is where Asia is, looking at right wing extremists and stuff like that. They're actually focusing on that.
Yeah, so anyway, putting that aside, but some Muslims have taken some of those sort of tropes and things like that. Some Muslims have taken that. So that's got nothing to do with us. But I think some conspiracy theories were also mixed into this as well. Some end of time prophecies.
Oh, a lot of people are talking.
the end of
there's
temple-
about at
the
least
temple being built.
40,000 end of time prophecies,
Yeah.
right? And because this is happening,
But
that's happening.
Think about this. If the Jews, let's say they take over Masjid Al-Aqsa.
Wait, what?
They take over this. Because the Masjid Al-Aqsa is not the Kaaba is not the building. The Kaaba is a spot.
Yeah.
So Masjid Al-Aqsa is not the building because it's been rebuilt many times.
Subhanallah.
So
Subhanallah, yeah.
when I went there, you actually go down underneath because there was an earthquake. So they rebuilt on top of it. So it actually is like a tunnel or like a view. There's crack in the ground. You look, there's another set of pillars and things like there's another structure underneath. So it's irrelevant. The Kaaba is not, the Masjid Al-Aqsa is not the thing. It's a spot. So whether they build it in a temple shape or building, it doesn't really matter, right? The spot will not change it into something. Even if they smash and flatten it, it still will be Masjid Al-Aqsa. It's a spot that counts, right?
land.
That, let's say they do that.
Yeah.
Doesn't really change the fact it's still Masjid Al-Aqsa for us. It's not as bad, like if the Yahud do whatever they do, Allah protect from their shar, but if they do something, this is not as bad as what the Crusaders did to Masjid Al-Aqsa. They turned it into a rubbish tip.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, for 100 years.
Yeah. They actually
Like they were more vicious than the
they had
Yahud.
the horses in there. They used their
Stable
stables
and-
and whatnot.
Yeah, so it's gone through that, and then Salahuddin Ayyubi Rahimahullah, when he came and reconquered it, and he cleaned it out and perfumed it, washed it, and imagine like 100 years of rubbish tip or whatever filth that was there, and he washed it and cleaned it out, and so so we worry about the building, but the real thing is that the situation around it and our
The
situation.
innocence.
Yeah, that the people
I
that are
think- I
suffering.
think,
It's so bad. Like this. Sorry, before I forget, there's a lady sister in the I think it's US. There's a sheikh or brother from professor from her 21 family members died.
Oh,
And because only one 10-year-old survived. She's like this university student. She was there studying. Whole family's gone. And one 10-year-old kid survived from the family. Like, it's pretty horrendous. Like, the way they kill. And then I saw a
Absolute
tweet.
war
One
crimes.
guy said, we've made as a family, the extended family decision. This is really sad. This is like, when I read it
Yeah,
this
we're all
morning.
sleeping in the same room.
No. He said, we split up our family, our kids, into so like we've sort of like, we got their kids, they got our kids. So our lineage continues. If one house is bombed, my kids will survive in another house. Some of my kids, some are here, some are there. Like, that's the decision they're making. Like, so the family continues, survives, is that we split up the family amongst like, we've got 5, houses in different areas. We split our kids into the 5 houses. So if they bomb one area, some of our kids will survive. Like, that's the decisions they're making, because it is the most strangest decision to make as a family, to sit together. This is the type of decisions they're making. So it's pretty.
I think
Anyway,
I
I
think
don't want
as
to
a-
talk too much
as
about
an-
it,
I
because
think as
it's
an
too,
ummah,
it's too much. Like that.
yeah, but as an ummah, and as anyone that's listening to this podcast, and anyone that we talk to, we need to encourage each other. Wake up for tahajjud and cry.
Yeah, if we really care.
Actually,
Yeah.
if we care more than the protests, more than social media, more than all of these things,
yeah.
actually get up for tahajjud.
Yeah.
Set your alarm, even if it's 2 rakats of salat, and just raise your hands for 5 minutes and just ask Allah from the heart. Let all those anger, that emotion, that sadness, whatever we're feeling, let it come out on the prayer mat.
No. See, that's nice and that's important to do. But this thing is saying that we not get angry and put it in dua. No, we should be angry at the zulm be done. That
No,
anger is
I'm
not going to go anywhere.
What I'm not saying, I'm not negating that, but I'm saying
peaceful.
make dua.
No, sorry, let me say this. There's a lot of Muslims that are talking like this. No, this anger, like what Bilal radiallahu anhu did to the one that used to torture Makkah. What did he do to him in Badr? Abu Ubaidah bin Jarrah was trying to protect him. The Umayy bin Khalaf or whatever was one of the mushrikeen. Bilal radiallahu anhu and the slaves who were being tortured in Makkah, they speared him under Abu Ubaidah bin Jarrah, killed him. So these people that are doing zulm with the IDF, Israeli army, really, because they're killing innocent people, even their own soldiers, pilots. They're saying this. The ones that go on YouTube. There's
PTSD.
pilots are saying, not forget about PTSD. They're saying that we're killing people, like we're destroying, like we are told and ordered to behave inhumanely. This state is not going to change. It's going to get worse and worse. Because I said last week, the population is always rising on the Arab side, Muslim and non-Muslim, and Muslims, of course. So they're going to become more brutal. So it has to be stopped. They have to be stopped. That whole
That's why
country
they don't want the one-state
And so the
solution.
Muslims to be angry, like we can't stop being angry. We can't say, we just put in the prayer mat and then at the end of it come. No, this thing will not go away.
What I'm saying is, I'm not saying don't be angry, but what I'm saying is that's a big part of what we need to do.
Allah destroy their tanks. Allah destroy. That's a dua you have to make.
Make the dua.
Yeah, this is the dua you have to make, and you have to do effort for that. Allah, how is that nation going to be? Country's going to be? I say this, and you don't want me to say it, but I say it should not exist. It's a colonial country that's carved out of Muslim world, forced upon those people. They torturing those people in open jail. Like I was told before that not to say that Israel should not exist. What I say is this state is a terrorist state. It kills and tortures. It has no mercy, no remorse for doing what they're doing. And you see their statements. And what did they do today? The Israeli, the foreign minister, one of their government departments. They put up on their Twitter, Alam tara kayfa fa'ala rabbuka bi ashabil fil. This is one of the official tweet accounts. They put a Surah Fil. Saying that, like mocking Quran. And he goes, and we're still feeling sorry for Israel and we're going to make peace with them and as a Muslims. No way, like stuff that. I have nothing against Jews as a people, as a race. Our Prophet ﷺ was married to Yahudiya. One of our mothers of the believers is Yahudi. We have no problem with race, but this country should not exist because it's forced upon us. This zulm will keep continuing. So
it's only going to get worse and this is why they don't want a one-state solution. They don't even want a two-state solution.
No, and we should remain angry until it disappears because it shouldn't exist because they should not be Muslims. And same with China. China, thing, like, it should not exist. I stopped buying, I'm trying my best to avoid buying stuff from China. I'll buy from Korea, I'll buy from Japan, I'll buy, electronics and all these sort of things. I'll avoid buying from them.
Yeah.
We can do what we can do. But this situation should not exist. right? It's not a norm. Like, it's become normalized. Muslim getting tortured, Central African Republic or wherever it is, like it's Kashmir.
Myanmar.
It's all of these things have become normal,
Yeah.
like for us. And we do the same thing. You make dua, brother. We can't do anything. We're weak. Like, we have to make dua, but it's like, what sort of dua are we making? So anyway, that's I'm not a
We're not. That wasn't. Yeah.
and while this is happening, Muslims are doing petitions for ladies' place in the mosque. But anyway, it's off the topic. Priorities, for God's sake. I mean, I've been hearing this thing this whole week.
Yeah, there's a petition about what is it? Fork the mosque.
Sorry, off the topic. Bad segue. But I need
This
to.
this is not about segue, but that was quite powerful what you just said.
Yeah, mashallah.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy. Fork the masjid. Should they open it up for
So
women?
Darul Uloom in Faulkner. Sorry.
Which you're a graduate of?
Yeah, I did my alim course there, 6 years full time, studied there, and I'm
Mashallah.
connected to the mosque for a long time, for 25 years. So someone online did a petition for a ladies' area. So there's no ladies' area in the mosque itself. First thing to understand is this is not a public mosque in the sense of it was not paid for the Muslim community in Australia. It was someone from Pakistan actually paid for this mosque.
There's no fundraising.
There's no fundraising. So you don't have a right to something. Like if I gave donations in another masjid and so forth, and I was part of it and helped build it up, then I have a right. So you don't have a divine right to something that Allah has not given you a right to. Like, that's the first thing to understand. So people that are claiming that things that if you build and help and you're part of that community, but you're not, like the people that are protesting or the people doing the petition. And it's a very silly way. It's an online bullying tactic, actually, to trying to force yourself upon another organization, private organization, which is known to be a very conservative organization. It's the Tabligh Jamaat that actually runs the mosque, the brothers from that. And they're known to be extremely conservative, right? And for all the benefit, and they're not anti-women, right? It's the only place in Australia.
Yeah.
Just let me say this: it's the only place in Australia where all those Muslim women organisations in Australia, all those councils and boards of imams, so forth, all due respect, in 50 years of these organisations existed, they have not produced one alim or one alima, one hafiz or one hafiza.
Subhanallah.
So this organisation set this trend for schools and so forth. It's a school, firstly, the grounds is a school. It's a high school, primary school, more than 1,000 students. It's on private grounds. There's a school in King Khalid on Bakers Road where I went to in high school, right? Where they have a mosque. It's not open to men or women. It's open, it's totally closed off from the public.
But
It used to be open once and then they closed it. Listen.
Okay.
So this is the first thing. So it's a private property. It belongs to the school. It's not there. They provide a service for the community. I'll get to all these points. So that's the first thing to understand. It's one guy donated from overseas, built a masjid or give for the masjid, for the land and so forth, and then the school runs and it pays for the bills and runs. It doesn't ask donations from the community. That's the first thing.
On
Yep.
that donation point, I've actually been told, one of my friends that goes there, he goes, the reason I like going there is you don't see one donation box and you don't see one.
Well, they get
asking for money.
$14-15 million from the Australian government for bad schools. So, that's the biggest donation box is the school.
Yeah.
So, they've got a supersized donation box. Other mosques don't have a school. So it's fine. They're making their money, alhamdulillah, and that's good for them. So
The point I'm trying to
people
make
who
is they're
say
not
that,
taking money from the community.
that's not a bad thing. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he asked for
Sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
donation. I'm just saying regarding this point, it's not a community masjid like other masajid being built by people coming together. And then if you deprive the sisters there, I get it. That's the first thing. More important than that is the jahal that is shown, the ignorance is shown by the people who comment on these petitions. And how many women in Faulkner itself, the immediate area, are actually demanding this? How many are there? You probably can count them on your fingers. There's actually not probably a call for it. Probably one or two ladies got together in the afternoon, had a chai, and then they decided to.
I don't know if it was
and honestly, there's in this time to have any other cause except for this cause in Palestine is any cause of the ummah. Really, it makes silly. I feel ashamed. I don't collect, and I feel embarrassed. I read a meeting the other day to collect any money for madrasa, for our alim course, to pay the wages of our teacher, or to collect for a land or something in this situation. Especially number one, COVID. Second thing is the Muslim needs overseas. I feel embarrassed to ask the Muslims for anything, and to distract the Muslims and from this issue. Other than this issue, at this point in time, there's no issue for the ummah except for this. Muslims are losing their lives in hundreds. You know, for us to even in the Holy Land. So anyway, that's one thing. Second thing is the ignorance. What I was saying is the ignorance of the people involved, and I say ignorance because they don't know that there's a shari'i basis for not having a woman's a catering for women. It's something that is discouraged in most fuqaha and a lot of imams, especially in the Hanafi fiqh, which is a majority fiqh in the world. There actually is a legitimate position that in the time of fitna, if generally in society is corruption and fitna, we're talking about these fatwas are given in the time of Sahaba Tabi'een, right? They're not given now. Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu anha, the Prophet's wife, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu anha, 1/3 of ilm came through her. And she said that if the Rasulullah saw the women of today, he will not let them in the masjid. Right? Who did she take deen from? Who are you taking deen from? I'll get to, and whoever's listening to this, don't take just sound bites. Understand the whole situation completely. So, from a fiqh point of view, there is a legitimate view of not having a space for women. Right? There is a legitimate fiqh stand for this. There's a Sahabi, he kicked women because they misbehaved in the masjid. In the masjid where I'm imam, we have a ladies section, we have facilities. I'm not against women being in the masjid. When I was younger, I was much more conservative. One of my friends, one brother pointed out to me, he goes, subhanAllah, because you said to me when you're young, because you're idealistic and everything's a bit black and white, he said, you said that my father, Sheikh Sayyid Rahimahullah, he was more pragmatic and wiser, obviously, and he changed my view from a fiqhi, from a dini point of view, from a logical, pragmatic point of view.
Fiqhi point of view.
Yeah, so from the fiqh perspective, there is a legitimate in the early Muslims that if there's no proper, this is not a view that I hold now. This is not a view that I hold. In my masjid or the masjid where I'm imam, alhamdulillah, we have a ladies area. But something to note about ladies' side, I joke about it during the Taraweeh because right up to Iqamah, they're still talking. The men, there's like 5 times, 6 times as many men, you can't hear them, nothing. On the ladies' side, they're talking right up till Takbir, which is against the etiquettes of the mosque. It's disrespectful for Salat. So many sisters, they don't know because they don't come to the mosque, they don't know the etiquettes of the mosque. But anyway, that's a separate issue. But they have their own wudu area. It's a private space. It's part of it's like they're praying next to each other, literally. There's just a curtain between us. And they're doing their salat, alhamdulillah, heating, everything, same facilities for the men is provided for the sisters, alhamdulillah. Their own wudu area, their own kitchen, all that sort of stuff, right? So I'm not against, and my father, rahimahullah, he said, look, in this time and age, in the past where women didn't go anywhere, right? Women didn't go out and about in shopping and streets and bazaar. This was not the habit of the Muslim women of the past. I'm not talking about 1,000 years ago. I'm talking about recently, like literally 100, maybe less than 100 years ago, right? So people can argue that that's got nothing to Islam, that's culture. Well, the Sahabiyat didn't go anywhere. Or when they went in full hijab and fully covered and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, so we are living the fitna fasad. One of the signs that you're in the fitna and the fitna and fasad, the corruption has increased so much, is that it's become normalized. That's actually a big sign. If you read the book and we look at our own life, I'm talking about myself, we're very far off what the deen is.
It sounds strange.
Yeah.
It is strange. It is weird.
And it also sounds like...
I said this before. Look, just go Google 1930s Sarajevo in Bosnia and Europe, women hijab or niqab. And you'll be shocked. Every woman is kneeling niqab. In Sarajevo, in Europe, in Bosnia. This is not, we're not talking about the Middle East and so forth. That's if in Europe on the frontiers, Muslims were like that. Can you imagine what the Muslims are? They'll be the same in the other parts of the Muslim world, the main hearts of the Muslim world. But anyway, let's leave that aside. So in a mosque, I'll explain that position. So that's the first. Second thing, fiqhi point of view. Is it a legitimate fiqhi position that the ladies cannot come to the mosque? It's actually considered in time of fitna fasad, the corruption when there's fitna and so forth and people are not pious, which is at one of the worst time we're living is now. It's makruh, it's close to haram, even though makruh tahrimi, some ulama say.
For women to come to the masjid?
Yeah.
Okay,
so this is not. Yep.
What about the other side that says, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, women shouldn't be forbidden from the masjid.
Correct, but this is all. There's caveats. There's condition. That's conditional. It's not open ended. This is not because there's other hadiths. If you put them all together, then you understand. So Imam Nawawi rahimahullah, I was looking at it before Imam Nawawi Rahimahullah writing on this, one of the great Imams, the giant. He said she should not go. So it's not. He said the. He said do not. He said the hadith. He's the one narrating the hadith and he's the one commentating on it. He said, the hadith do not prevent the slaves of Allah, the women slaves of Allah, from the masjid of Allah. He goes, hadith such as this, that you should not. They should not from this. From other hadith, conditions are taken that she should not be perfumed, she should not beautify herself, she should not wear jewelry and make jingling sound, she should not wear beautified clothes, she should not mix with men, she should not be young so fitna can result from emerging from home and going to the mosque, and the road path to the mosque should be safe. So Imam Nawawi Rahimahullah 700 years ago, when he's writing about this, in his commentary Sahih Muslim, he puts these conditions. So he said from other hadiths, we understand that when she goes out, these are all the restrictions or the laws that she should go.
So there are conditions for that hadith.
Yeah. So that's how generally when you study law, fiqh, if there's two hadiths, either the hadith, sometimes one hadith cancels another hadith. Like this rule was first, then another rule. Like ayat Quran first, don't come to salat while you're drunk. The ayat of forbidding alcohol cancels that out.
Yeah, okay.
It doesn't mean that you can say, oh, I can drink except go salat. No, the ayat now that law is cancelled by this law. So this is called nasakh wa mansukh. It's abrogation, it's a cancellation law. Or what happened is the law is open-ended, right?
Yeah.
Initially, and then it becomes more restricted, or it's more restricted and it opens up.
SubhanAllah.
So Rasulullah, for example, said, I used to forbid you to visit the graves. Now I permit you. Yeah, and initially he goes, I forbid you to visit the graves. Now I permit you to visit the graves because it reminds you of akhirah. Because initially people had weird beliefs and actions and bid'at and nonsense they used to do around the graves, as happens all over the world. So superstitions and so forth.
Yeah.
So initially it was a ban. Then later on that ban, so it became unrestricted. Or something was restricted and was unrestricted, became more restricted, like the alcohol and what other. So these are this is a matter of law, right?
Yeah.
But other imams have put just these conditions so they can go, right, and segregate. Like for example, in our mosque, they come, they pray, right? They got their own space. They got darsas classes. They've got darsas classes for ladies. They can listen to khutbah, they can participate in the masjid, alhamdulillah, there's sisters in the committee and all that sort of stuff. So we don't, there's no issue like that. And same with Darul Uloom is more, that's what I said before, something about Darul Uloom or Faulkner Masjid, it's not a masjid, it's part of a school, and it's part of it, they got a madrasa, they got hifz, hafizat.
Yeah.
They're not anti-women, they would not invest that much effort in teaching. They brought teachers from overseas with great challenges and so forth, and ulama they brought, and hafizat and alimat they brought from overseas, trained our local girls, sisters to become. They produce more than 60 alimat, sisters that are alimas, right?
Yeah.
In Melbourne, and from people move from interstate so their daughters can become alimas. Which other organisation in Australia did that? Nobody.
Yeah.
The whole of Australia, nobody did that.
I think this is where, in terms of Dini education, pure Dini education is one of the organisations that push the hardest for women.
Yeah.
For their education.
On a traditional basis and with all the rules and so forth, guidelines, and a conservative. But it's ironic that the most conservative organizations, they meet the needs of the ummah much more. The bread and butter stuff they did. They produce maktab teachers, school teachers, the things that we need, actually education of deen, they produce that. So in terms of that, Australia has a huge debt to this organization.
Yeah.
And the people that help set it up.
Yeah, subhanAllah.
So this is something that is lost upon me, because I don't see in the people commenting or even presenting that sort of, it's a very limited view of this one thing to the point of discrediting the people, management and the organization, which is, I think that's wrong.
I've read that petition and it doesn't sound like from your point of view, you're speaking with a lot of logic and facts. And there's reasoning behind that, but the petition is very emotionally charged. Like it's not.
It is very emotionally charged.
Yeah, and then also they have replied. Darul Uloom has put a statement out, and they said that no, we don't. They actually, and I remember when it happened years ago. This is like more than a decade ago.
Yeah.
They maybe even longer. They actually had for 1 month for ladies, but if you look at the location, the mosque where it is, it's right at the back. There's only actually one face you can enter through, and that's where all the men enter through as well, right? So people say, well, for conservative Muslims and especially practicing Muslims who come to the mosque, men, they don't like being in a mixed environment because it's against Islam. It's actually forbidden in Islam to be freely mixing between women. So for them, it is very awkward, and you don't want.
When you say it's forbidden in Islam for men and women to be mixing,
freely mixing, yeah,
going to each respective prayer area or whatever.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just like like freestyling it.
Yeah,
I don't know how else to put
I
it.
understand that, but the thing is, sometimes.
So this is why Umar radiallahu anhu, he had in Masjid Nabawi. There's a door called Babun Nisa, the door of the women.
Yeah.
Why does that door exist?
Just so
Umar radiallahu anhu put the door there.
So the women can
and it's
go
actually based on something Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw men and women going out through the same. Umar radiallahu anhu saw. So he had a door built. Because men and women are not supposed to mix. So they only have one-sided entrance. Now, these things can be worked out. They probably are. They mentioned in the letter, the statement, they were upset, obviously, about the petition and the way it was put and the fitna that was trying to be caused by it. But if you look at the mosque is actually, it's closed. One side is a fence, the school. The other front, you can't come from the front. It's actually really, and then the back is backed up to the thing.
I want to know what they said.
It was basically, we tried it for a month before many years ago, and he said we are purchasing some other properties there, so be connected to the mosque.
And they're in consultation with the ladies that come to the school, the madrasa, to try and organize a space.
So there was something there. Whether this is a reaction to the petition or whether something was there before, Allahu A'lam, we're giving the benefit of the doubt. But that's another thing, the practical aspect of that. Finally, the mosque itself is not just a mosque. There's brothers who make itikaf there every weekly.
Yeah.
Right? There's classes running upstairs, downstairs for boys. The same class they're running for the sisters and girls on the other side are running in the mosque for the boys throughout the whole week and evenings as well.
Yeah. And weekends.
So it's always a buzz with men walking around and so forth. It's a very active place.
Yeah.
So it's not practical even to have their space within that space of the mosque, the main mosque. You would have to then move some things out into provide another facility for some of the activities of the mosque, whether it be hifz classes and so forth. Like I'm talking about 6, 7, 8 hours a day. There's Saturday morning class, like it's a continuous thing. And the same classes exist for the girls and women on the ladies' side. So they're not a thing, but they maybe all of these things has stopped them from even developing or bothering. Then there's like ishtimaz or annual programs that they have, which is like maybe 2,000 men.
Yeah.
Right? So the mosque is going to be closed for 4 days continuous.
Yeah.
And imagine a sister rocks up, there's 2,000 men. Where's she going to pray? Every room is full, there's sleeping bags everywhere, people from interstate, whatever. It doesn't work. So maybe they need a separate building put somewhere there. That's what they said in the message. So
You know what's funny too?
But in the
that
petition,
area,
it said we want a space in that place.
But why are they insisting on that? Because
I don't know.
Firstly, is it wajib for you to pray in the mosque? No, it's better to pray in your house.
I don't think they understand
Yeah.
that. Though.
So I get it that praying inside a masjid for ladies.
I think it's more also a community. They want to be part of the
Exactly. There's a social aspect of it, and it's fine. That's fine. There's no issue with that. Maybe because we don't have other facilities, other projects in Australia. Like a masjid is really, Darul Uloom's maybe like in a unique category. It's got its own category, right? But generally most masjids are quote unquote Islamic centers.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. This is why I tell one of my students, Imam, I was telling him, so you're not a traditional Imam of a traditional masjid in the sense of that you're part of a center. In the center, there are many people doing different responsibilities, and they do. Like there's different activities and so forth. So you're working in a team. Even in my masjid as well. I'm Imam of the masjid. I have an assistant Imam. He does take some responsibilities in classes. I take some some classes. Then we have a sister coming and do classes. Then we have a Saturday schools, different people, nothing to do with it. Then there's a daily maktab which I manage, which is like 130 whatever kids, like oversee it at least. Well, I pay the payroll at least. I'm not teaching. I taught for 5 years, but Irfan handles the more than me probably now. So like we've, and then you got other brothers, like for some of the brothers who the volunteers for Eid and Ramadan. That's a total different group. They were in the mosque. So you're not working by yourself as an imam. You're working in Islamic center. If you're in a village mosque, traditional masjid, imam, 5 times salat, Jummah, that's it. Like, it's a limited role. But when you're part of a center, the sports activity, I've got nothing to do with that. There's brothers organizing their youth programs.
Got a pretty impressive gym.
Alhamdulillah. So like there's a whole set of activities that are being done. So it's a community, it's a team. Darul Uloom is not like that. It's not a traditional, it's weird to say that, traditional Islamic center. Right, it's
for Australia.
Yeah, and then we've
it's a school.
Yeah, it's a school firstly, and then so you can't impose. anyway, those are some of the points. But what I'm saying is that I'm not. I came to my father. He pointed out to me, look, it doesn't make sense in Australia. You stop women. We get the fiqh point of view from the position that it's makruh tahrimi and all that sort of stuff because in time of fitna. But he said it doesn't even make sense in our time, in his view, Rahimahullah, which I've come to more. It doesn't make sense that you stop women from the masjid, but they can go everywhere else.
Yeah.
And the only place that they actually might learn deen and change their life, which is the house of Allah.
They're not allowed in, yeah.
But he goes, we make arrangements. In our masjid, we're lucky because we got separate parking for them, separate entrance, their own wudu area, everything, all the facilities. They have a room for little kids at the back. So if the mothers, they have little kids, they can pray separately. Yeah. So it doesn't disturb the ladies at the front. You know, alhamdulillah, like this, all the provisions are made. They have screens where they can actually watch what's happening in the mosque. We make arrangements for that. So all of those things is to help the sisters be part of what's happening in the mosque, you know, and they can hear good sound system, you know, everything, heating, cooling, all that sort of stuff.
Basically what the men have.
So because why? Because they might not hear any good message during the week. Like they come to the masjid, they might learn something, practice deen, you know. People's life changed. Many sisters, they message me, and I can't say details, but they like, because of the dars in the masjid, that they did tawbah from something, or they were doing something that was haram and they left it. Just because of coming to the masjid, they hear. So that's worth it to make that all that space to become a better Muslim, a practicing Muslim. So that can only happen if that space is provided. So, you know. So, but you have to also understand that the community that built the masjid, the Tabligh Jamaat that built the masjid in Faulkner, they have programs for ladies in that whole suburb.
Yeah, they do.
Weekly programs they have, halaqas they have, ladies get together. These people that are doing the petition, they might not be part of that.
Yeah.
And that's probably part of the problem as well. They don't know that network and so forth. They're not part of that. And they so anyway, whatever. It's there's so many levels that it's wrong, but I understand their sentiment. Last thing I wanted to say was regarding that, and is that you're in the northern suburbs. I get it if you're in Doncaster, there's only one masjid, and they stopped you from coming because the next masjid is like 15 kilometers, 20 kilometers away. But you're in Faulkner. And so someone living in Doncaster, growing Doncaster, where people come from the masjid 15, 20 minutes away drive. You've got masjids in every direction. You've got my centre, you got Campbellfield now, the masjid in Campbellfield, 5 minutes up the road. A new masjid that's there, recent masjid. And they got a ladies section.
Well, you know, for Fajr, for example, it's quicker for me and easier for me to drive to Coburg and pray there than Faulkner, just because of the parking and driving in and all that stuff.
Yeah. So, like, there's actually other options available in the near area.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I mean, I said this as a people who don't have a cause trying to make a cause, but that might be been strong worded. But
that was very strong worded.
Yeah, I do apologize for that. But at the end of the day, it's like you got to look at the whole thing holistically, and above and all is a fiqhi position. Is it a valid fiqhi position? Yes, it is. If they don't cater for it, but I'll give you an example. I went to India to a place called Ahmedabad in Gujarat. Ahmedabad is a 500-year-old mosque that I went to. Ahmed Shah, these are Hanafi city, like one of the strongholds. And the Ahmed Shah, who was the king, Rahimahullah, who built that city. It's pretty sick you name a city after yourself. But I don't know if you named it or people after named. But
would you like to come to Melbourne, to Wajid next week?
Wajid Nagar. Wajistan. But he... the way, but I saw something interesting. I was looking at the mosques. I went there like 2001, and I was looking at the ladies section. The way they built, I was actually surprised. I thought this was like traditional Hanafi, old school. The way they built the lady, as an example of how people, you know, they catered for women, even old days. And I walked around the mosque to see. So the way they built, you have the men's section, which is this is a grand mosque, like the city's main mosque. So you know, if 100,000 or 50,000 people in it. So you got the mosque area, then you have like the mosque area, then because the front of the mosque, they have a stairs from the front going on top.
Oh.
So when the ladies come, they come from the front of the mosque.
Okay.
And they take steps upstairs.
Yeah.
And then there's a section above. Then I was looking at the place that was above for the ladies on the second level, and it had this trestle like design like this, you know, like the fences.
Yeah.
So they said apparently it's designed in a way that all the sound in the mosque goes into it. So they can hear whatever dars is happening in the masjid, be part of it. So even 500 years ago, they designed it in a way.
That's amazing.
So, but they made sure that the ladies, like in Bab al-Nisa that's built in Masjid Nabawi, is to make sure that the ladies have a total, there's no possibility to men and women traffic being, coming together.
Yeah.
So there's total separate entrance. Allahu Alam. I mean, probably, I think it's too late now in Darul Uloom. It's such a big mosque, you can't move it. But I think they probably regret placing it where they placed it. They could have actually put in the way where they could have made an arrangement. But I think now where it is,
I don't think it was built for that purpose.
yeah, I don't
That's
think
the
it
thing.
was. I don't think it was.
It's
I
not
don't think it
built
was.
for the purpose of, okay, there's a community mosque, everyone's going to come here. This is built
Yeah.
for the purpose of, okay, women are learning here, men are learning here. We're setting out, how many huffaz and
Yeah.
alims every year.
Yeah, it just probably just happened like in a. Anyway, that's it. Ma qaddar Allah sha- whatever happened was
And the
was
thing
written
is,
has
okay,
happened.
say we open up a ladies' room as well. How often is that going to be used? So you're going to use all of this money, all of these facilities. Are all these people that are signing this petition, will they be there for once a day for salat every day of the
You
week?
get a handful, like in our mosque, let's say there's 60, 100 different people, men come every day. There'll be like 3-4 ladies come.
Every day.
Every day, yeah. So there'll be like a handful, they might not come every day. But they'll be come. And Jummah, like you have like 500-600 men and you have like maybe 50, up to 10%. So it's not, but we need to provide it, and we do need to provide it. I think it should be there.
Yeah, but Faulkner doesn't need to provide it because that's not what the purpose it was built for.
Well, you have other
That's
mosques
my
for
thing.
Jummah and places to go. But the second thing was that I was just thinking about something. So many aspects, angles to this,
There's
which
so
I
many
can't
angles
cover
to this, yeah.
to understand the whole thing properly. No, it's gone. It's we were talking about something before, and then it's
What were we talking about? Ladies,
to have a space for ladies. The other thing is like where if you put it there, how are they going to get there? Like
There's
through the
only one
men,
gate.
they have to only
That's
go.
what it is.
Yeah,
There's only
that's
one gate.
also an issue as well.
Yeah.
It might not be issue for some ladies,
I don't
like
really think
we
the-
hear these are things that are when men used to walk in the old days, the ladies would go against the wall because out of haya, modesty, they would sit down and
they
let the
still
men
do
go
that in
past.
some parts of India.
They do in Egypt and other places they do it and but not in Australia. So I think for the sisters a place is needed, but you got to also be that specific mosque. You have to look at there's too many other factors, and it probably is, most practicing sisters will never want to go there.
They wouldn't.
Yeah, because there's so many men activities going on, unless they build a separate facility, move some of the activities
Maybe
out.
these guys that are signing this petition, they can collect money and build another masjid in Faulkner.
Yeah, why not?
That's possible.
Yeah, why not?
Because Faulkner's got so many Muslims there. Friday it's packed anyway, so let's build another masjid. So use
Yeah.
those energies towards building another masjid that caters for everything. And that can become the community hub.
Yeah,
And the school stays as a school.
yeah, we'll end up with female imams.
Oh, not necessarily.
No, but if there's another mosque nearby for catering and so forth, I don't see the need for forcing this facility because it will disturb a lot of their activities and works and so forth. I reckon.
Yeah, and they've done
I
so
don't-
much good work and they continue to do it.
Yeah,
Let it go. It's running well.
yeah. No, I was just talking about Doncaster. I was just trying to remember how we certain aspects of Doncaster. I was saying something that slipped my fun. It was in my head.
Why didn't you read his mind while he was talking? Irfan? You should have stayed one step ahead of him.
Now I've lost it. Anyway, khair. So what a last thing I was going to make is like there's extremes as well. I was years ago I was reading in the UK. So being pragmatic, like some mosque went so far extreme. Somebody might be traveling, and in that town there might be only one masjid, and they have this rule of no lady section and so forth. So
Sorry.
finished. You finished.
That was awesome.
What is that sound from?
It's just the chair.
Okay.
The chair and the table rubbing against
Yeah,
each
don't
other.
rub it.
No, you know what it is? It's because we're so skinny that we come close to the table and the chair
Jazakallah
just
khair,
has to...
Jazakallah khair. All right. So what I was saying was for the ladies section of the mosque. So some of these places that went so extreme, even the ladies traveling, like imagine the Musafir, she's traveling, or like in Doncaster, they're driving somewhere like to Hillsville or somewhere, nicer. Nice in the eastern suburbs. So
reckons the eastern
there's
suburbs
no,
are
there's
nicer
no,
than ours, bro.
there's no, there's. I live in the west, but the
Oh, yeah, that's right.
like I see the demographic shift,
Oh.
the cross section of the city. driving from Melton. I live in Melton and the west, and driving across to
Just gets
Doncaster.
worse
Yeah,
and worse.
yeah.
Or better and better and better.
Yeah.
Worse and worse and worse.
The air quality drops after Sydney Road tremendously. But anyway, that's an extreme. Like that's like not looking at the need. Like someone is traveling or passing through. They have nowhere else to pray. There's no arrangement for wudu for sisters, no for salat. So that's that's a necessity, right?
Yeah.
Then we can say that that's from a fiqh point of view, Sharia point of view. It would be wrong to not attend to that because people might be traveling through there and there's no arrangement made, and they might miss their salat. So there's actually a harm coming out of that from a Sharia point of view. But it's not even actually a requirement. Like it's not fard or wajib. Like if you say you have to do this, no, you don't. They don't have to do anything from a fiqh point of view. There's no requirement to do anything and to listen to the people. But it seems to be the new letter that came out. They seem to be acknowledging it, and they say we want to make arrangements properly. And that's the right thing to do. Because I remember when they did it, that 1 month that they did it, it didn't work. It was very awkward. Men had to, and that community is very conservative. So they know the adab, right? They know the adab. We know that sahabiyat, when they prayed in the mosque, they used to leave quickly, and the men used to wait until the women left. Today you got brothers high-fiving sisters, like I used to work in a place the guy's religious, supposed to be, and he's high-fiving, or working in a call center, and he's high-fiving the girls, like the not sisters, ladies, like it was, and he's a beard, he's a practicing brother, but over there he was like, he wasn't quite there, but the point being, we were, Abdul Wajid it's not about you, because you work in a call center as well. This is a call center I worked in, so but with one of your competitors, but the better company. But anyway,
they went better.
Yeah. The point being is that it's to say that you have to do it. No, they don't, because in Islam, what you have and not have to do is based in Sharia. Is not based on nothing. But I acknowledge as well that in our masjid we have that facility because it is a need in where we are. But maybe it's not a need in the area.
Well, we have many masjids close to Faulkner.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can go to.
Yeah.
My only thing with this is, this institution, this organization, is giving so much to the community every year in terms of the output.
Yeah, but it's giving for you and for other people. But these people, the sisters that might be asking or they're demanding, they might not be getting anything about it.
So maybe these sisters need to know what programs are going on and go attend those programs.
In the area.
In their area.
Yeah, but it's still not the masjid. The masjid is something else. I get it. Like sometimes a sister wants to go to the masjid, like they want to have a peace of mind or solace, whatever. It's not the best place for a woman, because Rasulullah ﷺ said, he said to a sahabiya, she was praying, because I know that you want to pray behind me. It's not behind the local imam. Behind Imam al-Anbiya in Madinah Munawwara, in Masjid Nabawi. But your salat in your house is better, in your courtyard of your house is better than in the room, than inside the depth of your house is better, more rewarding for you. She never went to the mosque again her whole life. This is coming directly from the Imam al-Anbiya sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But we get it. Like in this time, like there is a need to provide that space where maybe they'll never hear anything about deen outside in the public. I mean, now we're getting social media and stuff like that. But there's something about the masjid. But it's not. But to impose on the masjid or the brothers or who are running it or sister, whatever, whoever running it, to impose it upon them, that's also not like to demand and to create negativity around a very positive.
That's right.
It's not. They're not masoom. Like Darul Uloom is not masoom. It's got its politics. It's an organization like every other organization. Right? They make mistakes. They upset people. There's politics. These all these things happen everywhere. They're not totally innocent or something like that. But at the same time,
my point isn't about that.
Yeah,
my point is about the output.
The goodness is more than the negativity.
So
like the goodness should be appreciated. And I think another space in the area nearby should be created. Allahu Adam.
So maybe these guys
as well. I agree with you on that. There's some maybe if they can't do it, then somebody go somewhere else and make your own space.
Make a masjid.
Yeah.
Have a male imam.
Yeah.
to allay with Sheikh Khalid's fears. Like moving on from that, when we talk about education of women, if we look at Sheikh Usman dan Fuduye,
Rahimahullah, an advocate for women's Islamic education of women.
His grandma was educated him.
His mother and grandma, they must have been alims.
Yeah, alimas. Yeah, they were
alimas because
he was a prodigy, so he would have been.
His education, the bulk of his education happened when he was a child, and then he developed from that.
So Sheikh Usman dan Fuduye, rahimahullah,
he's our
great imam. This is the personality, and you can read about his life. Maybe I'll give a link to his book Ihya Sunnah. This is a book that I have a personal connection to. the person who translates Sheikh Muhammad Sharif, he's one of those American converts like Sheikh Hamza Yusuf. They went to West Africa or Mauritania and all these places in the 70s, and they went and studied there, became ulama. So he's African American, but he lived in he went to West Africa to study. And mashallah, he's translated most of his, if not all of his works into through Sankori Institute. I think he's based in Sudan maybe. He translated a lot of his works into English. So I'll put a link to his book, Ihya Sunnah, Revival Sunnah. He was a Maliki alim. Did he move it? I keep bumping it as well. So see, he's a Maliki alim, great reviver. There's 200 million Muslims in that region because of his da'wah and his people.
Yeah.
And the folk Islam or the superstitions, juju, whatever, voodoo stuff,
calling the jinn, the spirits into
yeah,
the
all the
body,
animistic stuff,
all
which
that
is
stuff
mixed
was
with
there.
Islam. So he opposed that, gave, wrote books on it. And then, the rulers, of course, they love that stuff, all that watered down Islam, or where it's politically advantageous to appease everybody.
The feel good Islam.
Yeah, and make sure we don't upset anybody, keep everybody on side, sort of thing, at the detriment of Islam. So anyway, Sheikh Usman. So this book, I made istikhara about this book, whether to teach it in the madrasa as a syllabus book. And there's a brother from London, Nigerian brother. He introduced me. He's born in the UK, I think, with a British accent. But he introduced me to Muhammad Sharif's work, and also introduced me to. Well, then because of that, I found out about Shehu Usman dan Fuduye, Rahimahullah. So I made istikhara. Then I saw him in a dream. This is my dream. It doesn't it's not like a rule. It's for me. And I saw him in a dream, sitting on the edge of a chair, a very dark man with a white beard, and he's giving a dars. And mashallah, it was like a very like munawwar dream. Like it's very bright. Like there's a lot of nur on his face. And I said, okay, this is a good sign, inshallah. But the book is known, and his books are known, his works are known among the ulama, and great alim, genius, and
Soldier.
also, and Sufi Shaykh Qadri Silsila, another Qadri, again not a Qadri. If you read his tasawwuf, you'll like it, because it's a deep spiritual tasawwuf without all the weirdness as well. Like a very strict, he was stickler for sunnah, strict abidance with sunnah, and the way he explains tasawwuf and the effects of tasawwuf and what is tasawwuf, Sufism, like within the boundaries of Sharia. Very similar to many imams that we respect, who are like, there's a weird type of tasawwuf today, like dancing and weirdness, like that goes against the Sharia.
What's tasawwuf? I'm just going to ask you that again.
Islam, it's basically it's ihsan. Like Rasulullah, what is
What's
iman,
ihsan?
what is Islam, what is ihsan? to worship Allah as though you see Him, or at least feel that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees you. To know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees you. This is like actually the goal of tasawwuf, is to purify the heart to reach that state. Is as though you see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is like the pinnacle of deen. So
isn't that what you want to do anyways? Isn't that
but tasawwuf is like a science. Like when we teach fiqh, we've developed a whole systematic fiqh of jurisprudence of do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
Right? When we teach doctrine or aqidah or beliefs, we have a science of aqidah, a whole science and ilm related to science of aqidah, which is explaining the doctrine, expanding the doctrines, and imams, they wrote books on it and manuals. So it's a sub-science. So it in itself, it's a science, but it's also an experience, right? It's a tarbiyah, it's an experience, and it's a very ijtihadi work, meaning that the imam of that time, he will identify the sickness, like a doctor, he will diagnose a specific sickness.
How does he diagnose this specific sickness? How do they do it?
All right, I'll give you an example, simple thing from our understanding and our sort of maybe foresight, insight, you want to say. If you see, right, a kid walking with his chest out like this, and walking with his arms swinging, what do you immediately realize?
He got kicked up the rear end by his dad.
No, he's got an attitude. His kid's got an attitude problem. He needs an attitude adjustment, or he's
I was
rude. He
joking.
didn't get tarbiyah, right?
Yeah.
So even you, like in me, and like we identify certain traits in people. All right, this guy's got issues.
SubhanAllah,
How do
say
you?
that.
How do you?
What are you pointing at your phone for, bro?
How do you?
This guy's got issues.
How do you fix it? How do you fix it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you fix it? There's different ways to fix it. Maybe some of them may be illegal, but you can just, as long as you don't leave any bruises. But
I got your back, brother. I got your back.
Use a phone book, but it spreads the weight out. Distributes it. But no, the point being, like, you can do tarbiyah. Even in your own way as a parent, you're doing tarbiyah of your kids. You're advising them on right and wrong and so forth. So but this is more at a deeper spiritual level. So the sheikh will guide you along the journey, the pitfalls, right? He knows that shaitan will attack at this stage, because there's like a journey that you're going through. So he guides you along the way to get to that goal, to get to Tawheed, to get to the oneness of Allah at a very deep level, the connection with Allah. So it's you can say he's like a mentor in a spiritual journey. That's what he is, really, you know. And you have a connection with him, and you don't mix up different sheikhs' tarbiyah because each one's got his own training, like tarbiyah style.
Own medicine.
Like, yeah, exactly. So you don't mix up your own concoction, because getting caught between two sheikhs, there's a saying, it's like getting caught between two swords. So you stick to one and follow his tarbiyah.
Yeah.
You know, and generally that's how it's done. So he will advise it. But the main component of his what? Sohbat Ahlullah, the companionship of the Ahlullah, the people of Allah, right? The people that are pious, not just talk. Like we just talk, we just words and information. Reality, they have reality. And second thing is, kasra zikrillah, excessive profuse zikr of Allah, remembrance of Allah, because it's a polisher of the heart. So the goal is the heart in tasawwuf, is to clean and purify the inside. We learn fiqh, hadith, all these other ulum, they are the scaffolding, but the real core is what? Is in the heart. To remove jealousy and anger and hate and
desire for wealth. Or
love for fame, love for wealth, love for
you know
money.
what's funny? It's I never hear these things, like, just because I'm not an alim, I'm just like your average Muslim, right?
No.
Mashallah.
Yes, mashallah.
We clarified that, didn't we? That don't take your deen from the two of us.
Yeah, that's true. Anyways, but going back to what I was trying to say.
Sorry, bro.
Being just an average Muslim, you know, when I don't know things, I'll go to Sheikh Khalid or, you know, other alims and whatnot. Sheikh Wajid as well.
Thank you.
And what
keep going.
I guess, like, what the thing that I sort of tend to get from Islam, or not Islam, sorry, or from what people portray what Islam is and how Islam should be followed, it's not very spiritual. It's more,
It's not very internal.
yeah, it's more external. It's more
Because
about
we
the
don't
rules.
talk about it. That's the thing.
don't do
My
this, do
sheikh,
that.
my sheikh says that. He said that we don't talk about the sicknesses of the heart.
Yeah, subhanAllah.
The goal of the soul is to what? Is to remove sifat razila, like the lowly qualities, the blameworthy, jealousy, anger, hate, arrogance, all these qualities, to remove them from the heart, and to obtain you can't change people, but you can reform people. Like their nature is their nature. You can, what's the saying, that you can move mountains, but you cannot change a nature. Like Umar radiallahu anhu was known to be firm before Islam, against Islam. But then when he became Muslim, he's the most staunchest defender of Islam.
Yeah.
So the same character is still there at play. He is who he is. But then Islam reformed him and channeled his character into a way. So it's not to change you to something else. It's you are who you are, and your temperament is your temperament. But it's to reform, make sure that your temperament is used for the right things, right? It's to cure the sickness of the heart. And to obtain sifat al-hamida, the praiseworthy qualities, sincerity, ikhlas, taqwa, tawakkul. These are all to do with the heart, to think others are better than you. You know, look, these are all the things that are praiseworthy qualities Islam teaches. But how are you going to do it? So the Imams of Tasawwuf or Sufism, they suggested certain exercises. These exercises ijtihadi, they're not part of Sharia per se.
Yeah.
But they are actually, like for example, the teacher tells you for the next 40 days, now's probably not the time to do that. Because the mic picks it up. For 40, I could hear it in the headphones.
As soon as it started, it was like, here we go.
Yeah. Just wait till we finish, man. For 40
We have
40
extra
days,
people in the room
for
today,
40
just to let
days you
people
don't
know.
get angry. That was what I was going to say. So one sheikh
This
suggested
was day 39 for him.
for 40 days you don't get angry, you don't slam a door. Can you just close the door? Actually? It's actually open. You know, so for 40 days you don't make one sound, like if someone cuts you in traffic, you don't like flick your hand, you don't do anything like anger or say any word. And if you can't do
Have
that,
you done that?
I think I lasted 2 days. But, you know, there's a lot of drivers where I drive through a certain nationality. But anyway,
Oh, no.
but let's not specify.
Yeah,
what
let's not
nationality.
go there, please.
Yeah, but you can fill in the gaps. But anyway, the Subhanallah. Come on, man.
Oh,
Stop
sorry.
so what I was saying is a serious topic. So
Okay.
it's that exercise. You cannot say in the Quran, in the Hadith, there's 40 days you have to do this, like this. It's something that he's realized that people are very egotistical, very opinionated. They one of the ways to identify is how you react, that you don't get things on your schedule, especially Westerners. because we like things done on time. And when we don't get it, now we might think, because we're comfortable, we have everything like available to us, right?
Yeah.
So, like we don't know whether we have bad character or not. It's when you put us in hardship, as soon as we don't get what we want, we chuck a tantrum.
Yeah.
So that means our nafs is actually not in control, because it's the hard times that tell you whether your nafs needs tarbiyah or not. So anyway, getting back to Sheikh Usman Dafon. So he's a sheikh, right? He basically starts doing the reform, the zahir, the apparent, fixing up the people's bad habits, and corruptions and the bad beliefs. But he was ostracized, and so point he was kicked. He had to leave. He said this king's a kafir, and because he, like basically had to leave.
Yeah.
And then people started, his followers were everywhere, and they started migrating as well. As they were migrating, then the king, of course, ordered to fight, like sending thing. But at that same time, the people declared Shaykh Usman Dafon is Amirul Mu'mineen, the leader of the faithful, commander of the faithful, and he declared jihad because now he's a ruler of an area.
Yeah.
So he declared the king, and then he took over the whole region. I mean, I'm cutting it short, him and his son and so forth afterwards. But one thing about Shaykh Usman Dafon, he's more of a sheikh
Then a ruler.
Yeah.
Mm.
Why? Because at a certain point he handed over to his son. Why still alive? He didn't go till death. And then what does he do? What does he do at the end of his life, 6-7 years? The spiritual reform of his community. That's all he focused on. Because that is a much more, because you can put the state and you can put all the apparent, he did all of those things. He removed all the extreme bid'at in the area, corrected people's aqaid, beliefs and so forth, shad deen, all the incorrect habits, women's education, all the amazing. What's amazing about him, he gives up rulership.
Yeah, and goes back to the basics.
And you see Sultan Fateh, he did that as well. His father did that. He handed rule to Fateh. Sultan Mahmud Fateh, the founder, to the one who conquered Istanbul. If his father actually gave it to him, and then the son ordered him to be a general, I guess, look, I've retired to spiritual life, right? And he said, well, if I'm the Khalifa, then I order you, like basically, because he was a capable commander.
Yeah.
So then I order you, like he ordered his father to call him back to service.
Right?
Yeah. So anyway, the point is that the sheikh dedicates himself to something deeper. And that's why he has such a huge impact, because he was not a person of dunya. He was not a person of material. It wasn't about power or wealth or anything like that. Nothing in his life shows that. And the biggest proof of that is he hands over to his son and another one of his students, the rulership, the khilafat. It's a Sokoto khilafat. You can read about it. And it's called the Fulani Jihad. The Fulani is the people that he ruled, and goes across. There's 200 million Muslims in Africa, and that part of Africa, that are directly a result of the efforts of Shaykh Usman Danfodio Rahimahullah. And Shaykh Usman Danfodio Rahimahullah, he retires from politics, not politics, government, rulership. He settled all up, judgments, courts, the whole work, and hands it over. And now he focuses on his community tarbiyah on a deep spiritual level. Because that's much more harder. That's more insidious. That's going deep. That goes in the heart of everybody in the community.
That's against yourself now, not against everyone else.
Yeah, so that's something that he did. So he's a great, great sheikh. And he established a khilafat, and he established a whole tradition now. So his descendants in Sokoto, which is northern Kano, I think, if I remember correctly, is the thing. They're still there. They're like figurehead rulers of that area, the region. They're very honored, like in that part of the world. So whenever I meet a Nigerian brother, as I throw, that's my like name dropping. I say Shehu Usman, and they look shocked. Shehu Usman Danfodio.
He says it with the
Shehu Usman Danfodio Rahimahullah. So I name drop a little bit, and they get shocked like that I know about him, and and then I said I saw him in a dream. They even more of that. They love me even more. That's how I get Nigerians to love me. But anyway,
he gets Nigerian brisket.
But anyway, that's his jihad, his ilm, his taqwa, his wilayat, his legacy and ilm is an amazing person, this ummah. And what I found in this experience of studying about him, because we had to sort of prepare a little bit, we started studying all these African towns and names.
Yeah.
Africa is so much more interesting.
Africa's
we don't know nothing
and
about it.
Massive.
Isn't that right, Lata? Our resident African.
From Flemington.
Please. Sorry, Irfan, you are from Kenya, you speak Swahili, but I'm sorry, like you are, Hakuna Matata, yeah. So, but you're not really. How many generations? 4 generations.
Irfan has lived more life. I think you've spent more time in Africa than Lata has.
Yeah,
You realize
he
that?
grew up. He just came recently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he probably, definitely
So,
has.
So our resident African is actually Irfan.
Yeah. All right. Then anyway,
Going back to Lata from
Lata,
Flemington.
bit of a reverse racism, but anyway, Lada. So tell us. Isn't it Africa interesting? Islam in Africa is so interesting.
Africa's amazing.
It is.
It's
Yeah.
so colourful. It's so interesting. There's so many history we don't know about.
It's a very diverse continent because of all the different languages, all the different types of people. I mean, if you're not from Africa, you can easily be fooled to think that all these people are one.
So do you speak African?
Yeah, I speak African.
Because it's one language throughout the whole country, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's. I've had that question thrown at me so many times.
Do you speak African?
Like in high
People
school.
actually ask, do you speak African?
In high school, man. In high school, of course.
Yeah.
It used to happen all the time.
Subhanallah.
And just the education of, no, this is a continent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
It's got many people from different countries that speak different languages. But yeah, it is very colourful and it is very interesting, especially the Islamic history in Africa.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And the more we going through all these, colourful characters, all these Islamic history of the past, especially after reading Sheikh Usman and Fuduye, and then the downfall of the Sokoto Empire, how it happened and things like that, you realize how much zulum was done by the colonizers.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Like the level of zulum, the level of no rahmah, just the evil. I can't think of any other word.
Yeah. I mean, Israel
Absolutely.
is the continuation of that.
That is.
That is an extension. So now we get a glimpse into what was actually happening to the Muslims throughout the world.
Yeah,
Whether it be the French, the Italians when they arrived. I think we talked about this with Omar Mukhtar. When they arrived in Libya, they just slaughtered 5,000 men, women, and children.
Yeah, just
Just
as
to
an
show, what was it?
Just as an example, as you said.
An example, set an
Point.
example. 5,000 just slaughtered like that. So Israel, we've forgotten, we've had a collective amnesia of what actually was.
That we've been made to forget because now
Yeah.
we feel that the education that the Western system gives us.
Who's the only
history, especially history, modern history.
one of the only communities that has a very strong awareness of it because it happened till so late? Algerians, I'm going to speak to Algerian brothers, middle-aged brothers, because it was lasted right up to the 60s. And it was
French.
ruthless. The French were ruthless. And because it's so recent, 60s is very recent, while in India, the British India was it was already
47.
waning, and 47, but there was already waning before that, 2 decades before that. And the real harsh stuff was the early 20th and late 19th century, and even before that as well. So it's a bit more of a distant memory. But Algerians, because I speak to many brothers, but they were the ones that were the most, because it's their parents are telling them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The brother was telling me, I said something about, sort of an anti-terrorist statement or something like terrorism statement. The imams we do, the compassionate imams, we say these nice sort of slogans and things, trying to get all the Muslims to be pacifist. But I said something to him in mosque, and his father was there, and he heard, he got upset. Because he lived through the French thing. He had they should not be, his view was that, why are we apologetic? What they've done is so much worse. And the reason why people are reacting and why terrorism does exist, because they've dished it out. They've dished it out for 2 centuries, really, even maybe 4 centuries. So when the person, with the Palestinians, we're actually watching what? What are they saying about Gazans? What are they saying about the Gazans? And what are they saying about Hamas? What are they saying? They are terrorists. And we actually identify more with them. Right?
Yes,
because so this was done to Muslims all over the world. The people that oppose, they were made to be the terrorists. So anyway, one man's terrorist, another person's
Freedom fighter.
Freedom fighter, yeah. So now we're inserting this in at the end. So, mashallah, I just want to say Jazakumullah khair to Brother Irfan, Brother Lada, and Abdul Wajid. Barakallah fikum. This is our episode 21, so it's been 6 months we've been doing this.
Oh, I didn't say episode 21 at the start.
Yeah, all right, whatever. It's there on
Welcome
the
to
thing.
episode 21.
Yeah, so anyway, so as a expression of gratitude, Jazakumullah khaira, it's an Eid present I got for nothing flash, just an expression, right, of it.
Why am I worried? Lada, how are you feeling right now?
A bit nervous.
Yeah, what's going on?
First gift is for Irfan. It's my old camera, right?
MashaAllah.
Right. But I need it for another month. All right. So there you go. Just touch it and give it back to me. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Irfan. Allah reward you. Mashallah.
Mashallah, may Allah
Yeah,
reward you, bro.
week out doing all the
Week
sound
in,
and
week out. Not only the
and
sound
now
effects,
Ahmed
come
is
on,
Maulana
and putting up
Ahmed
with
is
him.
here as well.
Yeah.
Maulana Ahmed is here as well. He's starting as well, and he'll be helping out and doing the same things at Fun, inshallah. So Allah. So I haven't got a present for you because he just started. So all right, the next present
Get ready to touch it and give it
is
back.
for Abdul Wajid, right?
I'm so worried right now, Lata.
All right, huh?
Here we go.
All right. This is
Oof.
a camping tool.
I know these things.
Yeah. So it's a little hammer, a
MashaAllah.
little axe. You can take the thing off. You can use it like that. There's other tools here as well. All right. So that's a hadiyah for you.
Mashallah.
It's a Eid
MashaAllah.
gift for you, but you got to put this. This thing is sharp. This little axe.
Yeah, I know.
That shit is a
So what you do is you
little
use
tomahawk.
yes,
whatever you
and the
wanna
other
call it.
side is used for knocking pegs in.
That's it for for camping. This is for as a little axe. Anyway, that's a hadiyah for you.
Jazakumullah khair.
Yakum. All right. For Abdul, Lara, I didn't know what to get you.
So he got you a map of Africa.
I got you. We're doing unboxing. All right.
There you go.
I got you.
That looks excellent.
I know you like birds, right? So I got you a bird feeder. All right, and I think your wife will probably like this as well because it doesn't look ugly. All right. All right. So it's a solar powered
Come on.
bird thing, and you put the seeds in the middle, and then there's like 3 glass cups. You put it here with water, and then there's like a light in it at night time, so you can hang it off a tree and like that.
Mashallah.
So that's for you. Alhamdulillah. Hope you enjoy that. And
Jazakallah.
I know you miss your friend, the pigeon.
Yeah,
But this is so you can take that, inshallah. All right.
Inshallah, jazakallah khair.
Wa iyaakum. This is like your Eid present, you could say.
Oh,
All right.
Jazakumullah khair. Hang on a sec. Move the.
But I really, bottom of my heart, Jazakumullah khair, because when I told you guys 6 months ago, whatever, to come, so I didn't know Lada until we did this podcast, actually. I mean, I knew I met you, but I really don't know you. I never sat with you and talked with you.
I remember having this, actually, well, if we're talking about it, this conversation with Maulana, and he's like, we just need that third person. I was like, I got the boy.
So it was good, mashallah. It's been a good
Mashallah.
team, alhamdulillah.
Bro,
And
jazakallah khair, man.
became friends through this. Wa iyaakum. You're welcome.
Do we need to hug you now?
No, it's all right. don't get gay and stuff, man. But Jazakumullah khair again, all the brothers, and especially even the brothers who are commenting and they give positive feedback. Jazakumullah khair.
Well, we actually, on a serious note, the guys that do comment and even just to say, hey, good job, whatever it is, we appreciate it. It does make my day when I get on there and it's like, oh, someone commented.
Yeah.
Especially when conversation happens, I like it.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. So on that note, we call it a night.
On that note, we call it a night. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum.
Please like, subscribe, and press the bell icon.
Ooh, I like it.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Bro, you shouldn't have done this, man.
Huh?
You shouldn't have done this.
Why?
man.
It's not.